Should I say what I said I was gonna say?
Yeah.
And what if I said what I said I was gonna say when I said I was gonna say it? Hi. We're Cherry Notes. My name is Emma, and that's Soul. Say hi, Soul.
Hi, Soul.
Thank you. We talk about music and K-pop, and I dropped my chapstick. It is your birthday this week. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Yeah, by the time that this comes out, my birth week thing celebration has already passed.
We had a great time. We had so much fun. Oh my god, it was crazy.
What do you think? What are your predictions for the NCT Dream Show? Because we're going to the NCT Dream Show in Chicago the day before my birthday.
So I thought you were gonna ask me for your 2024 birthday predictions, like this is fantasy football.
Oh.
But you know what? Like,
who are we drafting?
If it's just NCT Dream, Sheena texted me and was like, "Hey, I can't wait to see who bias wrecks you at the NCT Dream Show." And I said, "No one.
It's gonna be Chunla."
Like, see, okay, and now that's the only person that I can, because there's been so much Chunla content on my timeline lately, and he's so freaking funny. I mean, I just think he's sweet. I don't think that like I'm gonna get wrecked or anything. I think I will like appreciate him more, I guess.
Right.
Could be said for what's gonna happen. There's no one that's usurping Haechan. There's just and Renjin's not even gonna be there, and that's just depressing for me. But
right.
In terms of like overall weekend, I think we're gonna have a great time. I honestly, if we see one of them out in public, I'll throw up. That's all.
Haechan, if I see you outside the Carhartt store,
I'm showing you a link to this podcast where we predicted it.
We're starting off with some album reviews. We got two.
We got two. Well, I could talk about Keshi forever. So would love to talk about that.
Okay.
I also just want to say, moment of silence for me not being able to see Sabrina Carpenter tonight because tickets were no less than $300.
Ew.
Yeah, I was explaining that to my boss today, and she's just like, "Yeah, and like those are just for nosebleeds, and even at this point, and I can't imagine spending that much money on a concert." And I like had to hold my tongue to be like, "Girl, you got no idea how much money I spend to go to concerts." I was like willing to spend a total of like $65 to go see her.
Right, nosebleeds. $65 seems pretty reasonable, but the fact that nosebleeds are about $300, yeah, that was not happening. So I mourn for you. Okay. I do. Yeah,
I did see her at Gov Ball.
Yeah, okay,
but I wanted to see the album, so it's cool.
Right, she did not perform Bedchem at Gov Ball,
which is so unfortunate. I did see the live debut of Please 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 though, and no one can ever take that away from me.
Well, there you go.
Sign of the times. I don't pray to God, that's a weakness. I've been playing God in arenas. I was doing better till I wanted more.
Okay. Keshi, Requiem.
Perfect album.
Album of the fucking year.
Album of the year.
Can I say that?
I mean, we only have what? October, November. We have 3 months left in the year.
This is my like non-K-pop album of the year. Like that's I would say also the Foxing album that just came out. Right. I just saw them yesterday. Incredible. Really, really great. Well, we know. I listened to Soft Spot like 27 times last week.
Yep.
Just on a loop. Really awesome title release for Requiem. Depressed that Yoonjin from Le Seraphim shared it. Couldn't be more happy for Keshi. Couldn't be less happy for myself. Right. I sent my earbuds to Kay, and they were like, "Oh my god, Yoonjin's influence," and I was like, "Don't start.
Don't even."
Like, I've been here for so long.
Yeah. Currently, Soft Spot, which is the number 4 track on this album, has 6,166,000 plays. And I would say about 66,000 plays is you.
You couldn't be more right, I think. I really have just listened to this album into the ground almost. And I gotta say, Kiss Me Right, the bonus song that got released on Friday, woo! You know how like Gabriel was like kind of slutty? Like a
Oh.
little bit more slutty than like this album is. This album is very, I feel like, more
Yeah.
emotionally
Yeah.
in tune kind of thing.
Yeah.
Kiss Me Right is like a nod to Gabriel, which
Oh.
I enjoy because it's a lot of Keshi's older music was kind of that like situationship kind of
Oh
music.
yeah, like risque type.
Yes.
Yeah.
I feel like especially this being right after ID, it's like the same kind of vibe, which again, like I've said though, just with Requiem on its own, the fact that the lyrics of ID are the same as what's in Amen, which is the first song in the album, it's just so good.
Right.
It's so I love when artists do that, and it's done so well on this album.
Mm-hmm.
God, I'm just like, you know what, just play the whole album for the podcast. Just play it.
Right. And that was one of the main points that we made when we first like listened to the album, which I was like, I like the fact that the first track on the album is called Amen, even though that's what you say at the end of a prayer. But the fact that it like you can listen to the album on loop, like, or back to front again, and it all makes sense still. Like it's not like an abrupt cut where you're like, oh, I'm back at the top. Like it just kind of blends in.
I just found out something while looking at this album, and
Mm.
Imad Royale produced 11 of the 13 songs on this album, and I freaking love him. Wow. That's awesome. That makes me like more stoked. I also just want to say I had this vision
Mm-hmm.
of when I was like listening to this album that at the tour, which is unfortunately postponed till who freaking knows when,
Mm-hmm.
he'll open with Amen. And that's just gonna be like really spiritual for real. Like,
Yeah.
I gotta say, my actual favorite, my favorite
Mm-hmm.
song, even though I listen to Soft Spot the most,
Mm-hmm.
I want to say now that Kiss Me Right is out, it's like a 4-way tie
Mm.
between Say, Soft Spot, ID, and Kiss Me Right. But I also love Like That. I don't know, it's a perfect album. I just can't. So good.
I listened to it this morning when I was at work, and then I listened to it again after I left work. And on two different occasions of sleep deprivation, just the whole album just sounds. They're all so good. Like I don't even know like what my favorite track would be because Soft Spot is really good, and Soft Spot is.
Soft Spot is the way that I feel about all of my friends. And I said that and I'll say it again. I literally like when I the first time I heard that song, I texted you when I was listening to it. But like seriously, my throat gets so tight and I feel like sick to my stomach with like how much love fills up my body listening to that song. Like I when you listen to a song off of the album, you're just like, fuck it, I have to listen to the entire album because it literally is all woven together. Like it's one thing. It's kind of how I feel about like older albums that like Infinity on High by Fall Out Boy or like Selfish Machines, like albums that you really used to just feel like a whole story that you had to listen to the whole thing. I don't know. It's so good. Love it.
Can we talk about Dream for a second? Like
yeah.
That track.
Cried the first time I heard it. Remember when it came out and I said, I can't listen to this with you guys. I have to listen to it on my own. I was like, I have a feeling it's going to make me cry. Yeah. And I did. I think for me, also just the line of she's a dream come true, but I have nightmares. It should have been you. Like,
yes. Yep.
So good.
And it's such a pretty sounding song too.
She's a dream, the best thing that happened to me. She's a dream, all that I thought it could.
Can you tell we like this album? Just wondering.
We haven't said a bad thing about this album, but that's because
actually, the only thing, it's not even a bad thing either, is that this song that is titled after the album, like Requiem itself, the saddest song I've probably ever heard in my life. It's sweet. That song is really depressing. Before we talk about P1, Key's third mini album, Pleasure Shop, came out today. I didn't get to listen to it in its entirety. I'm sure I'll have things to say about it once I do. But the title track, great. It's another gay club anthem. Like, he literally can't make bad music. It's crazy. And the music video, oh, I can't wait to show you the music video. It is so, he's just a genius, like creative genius. I don't know if you saw his like the album design where it's the martini glass, but I will be purchasing that hands down.
I'm gonna have a bar card of Key albums, actually.
Which would be so cool. Like, if they had a Key pop-up, like literally called Pleasure Shop, and they just had like a whole setting that was like a bar, and there was just the album stocked there. Like, it's a bunch of martini glass. So smart. Why aren't they hiring me? Anyway, take it away, P1 Harmony.
And then this is the last thing. Do you think
yes,
that if the boys changed the spelling, they'd be able to keep that name? Like, what if they changed it to the same spelling as like Boise, Idaho? Like the boys, the Boise.
The Boise. Well, it's funny because like their fan name is The Boy. Debbie. I don't know. It's spelled weird. I'm sorry to anyone who stands them. I don't know. Karen and Mary are gonna beat me up. I don't know. That stuff's so messy. It's just great. It's just greed, really. Like, that's all it is.
But you with Google at your fingertips looking it up.
I literally am.
P1 Harmony. I love P1 Harmony. I love Keho. You know what I love the most, actually? I love when Jiyoung starts a song.
Which is almost all of them.
Exactly. I just want it to be known that both M and I took a nap prior to recording this episode. And I'm still waking up. M woke me up and went, "Hey, wake up." I said, "Okay." Yeah, Sad Song is so good that it's on the album twice, once in Korean and once in English. They're both so good, and I feel like sometimes when K-pop groups do English versions of their songs, something just doesn't hit as much. It doesn't bang. Sad Song English version bangs.
P1 does not release a bad English version of a song.
I wasn't the biggest fan of Killin' It English version, but Jump English version.
Jump English version genuinely changed the trajectory of my life, and I thought hands freaking down they were gonna play the English version of Jump when they toured here. They didn't. But you know what? With Sad Song, like, the song's so nice they named it twice because the EP is also called Sad Song.
Yeah.
Maybe they're having a trend. Maybe they're just gonna do this forever now. I have my feelings about this album, and I love All You. I love All You. I think that song is very like when I was talking about it, it reminds me of Notes on a Conditional Form, 1975, kind of like walking upbeat, kind of like city soundtrack song. So I really, really like it. Ooh, I really only liked like half the album. And it makes me sad because to me personally, it doesn't feel like P1, and it makes me so sad. Like, Sad Song, it makes me Sad Song. But I think when I was talking to Dina about Sad Song, like, she was like, "Oh, it reminds me a lot of like Airplane Part 2 by BTS," and I was like, yes, it has that, like, you know, that piano, like, it definitely has grown on me. Like, it's catchy. My feeling about it was that the music and the melody are like racing each other. It makes me feel like anxious. Like, it makes me feel like they're not singing on beat because I don't know, it sounds like the beat progressively gets faster for some reason, and they're like trying to keep up.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of the marimba ringtone on a cell phone. I think it was like on Nokia at one point. The words that they're singing and the actual song itself, like the instrumentals, are racing against each other, and that's such a cool visual to have because I didn't even think about it that way. A lot of sound is visual, and people don't really realize that because like you look at waveforms and that's the only way that we can tell what sound looks like. I could see it. And Last Call is just a One Direction song. It's just Up All Night by One Direction.
Doesn't matter. Pretend that and we never going home. The burger to the party too.
Yeah. I was like, nah, you could put this in a Disney Channel movie and it would go hard. I don't think any of the songs by any means are bad. I just
Right.
think that it's not what I was expecting. I'm such a like, oh my god, killing it like changed my life. I feel like if you hear the first like 5 seconds of Killing It and you aren't like, this is a banger,
Mhm.
like there's something wrong with you.
Yeah. Killing It was their bouncy. Like it fully
Yes.
changed something in
Yes.
their fans, in people that don't listen to them that eventually became fans, and just people in general who like don't even listen to K-pop, that they're just like, oh, this is different.
Killing It came out this year and
Mhm.
is only 6 million plays less than Do It Like This.
Wow.
It is their like second most played song on Spotify.
Mhm.
I think that the impact of Killing It is crazy. It's a really hard single to try and follow up.
Right.
Like anything ever with. I mean, that's how it was with Bouncy. I think Crazy Form was pretty damn close,
Mhm.
but I don't think that like I don't think 80s will ever have another Bouncy ever
No.
again. It was like it literally was like a cultural movement that
Mhm.
you just can't replicate. The one thing that I love about P1 specifically in their choreo is that they do a lot of like because in this song they do it too, but it's a lot of the like bendy bunny like peace signs. They do it in
Mhm.
so many of their choreos. Like
Yeah.
they do it in BFF, they did it in Killing It, they do it in Sad Song. Like it's just like such a cute little like P1
It's
thing
like
that I feel.
their little signature when it comes to
It's so
dancing.
cute.
Yeah.
The music video made me like this song tenfold.
Yeah.
Like I listened to the album like while I was driving all the way through for the first time,
Mhm.
and I watched the music video the day after or something. And the music video is great. I genuinely think it's their best music video they've ever had.
Mhm.
It's extremely interesting, fast-paced, colorful. I mean, they always have interesting music videos.
Mhm.
This one is very like this music video is to P1 as like Brought the Heat Back is doing hype in. Like
Yeah.
in Talk on the Mechanical Bull was unnecessary. Like
I also said that when I saw it, I said that was uncalled for. Anyway, I love when they let Little Soul speak. I love when they give him lines. Like I didn't realize how many lines he actually had until I was watching the music video. I think me and Tara watched their like Music Bank or Inkigayo performance or something like that. And Soul just like fully feeling confident in himself and coming to the center and like doing his lines. I was like, oh, that's so nice. Like I love when they let him speak. I just don't think he's had that confidence to kind of step up and do it because he is an amazing dancer and
craziest dancer probably. Like
yeah, and I feel like that's definitely more so where he shines because he is also just like a very quiet guy and like he's very odd. I think like he's definitely a actions speak louder than words type of person where he will do something physically and just sort of expect you to know what he means.
yeah.
And you can see it in like their content and like the fact that Kiho is very much the person that like speaks up for Soul and like will just look at him and know exactly what he means and go, okay, so he means this. And
Because that's his dad.
that's his dad. One last thing about this album and then we can move on. But in Wasp, I don't know if you noticed this, but it was one of the first things that I noticed when I was listening to it in my car, which was at some point during Intox rap and then like during the chorus, they use like an actual wasp sound.
Like a bug.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be so honest with you. While I was listening to that song, I was actively hating on it. So
Valid.
I haven't listened to it again.
Mm-hmm.
The sound of the music itself is I love the instrumental of the song. I love Jung Sub's rap.
Yeah,
in the song.
it's definitely reminiscent of That's It.
It sound like, okay, I've seen that a lot,
Mm-hmm.
but I really think that it sounds like BTS's Cypher songs.
Oh, yeah, I could see
Which
that.
are very like, I guess more like trap sounding.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what it reminded me of. I really think that I need to revisit the album like in its entirety, which I will when I have my 6.5 hour drive on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Um, but I will keep my ears peeled for said bug, even though I hate the sound of that. I had a
I
wasp in my house yesterday, so that was fun.
I do too. I don't like the sound of things flying past my ear, but for whatever reason, P1 said, I'm gonna take that sound and put it in a song. And they did it really tastefully. I thoroughly enjoyed this album. I will agree with you that like it's not going to top Killing It because the entire album is so good.
You know what the problem is with this album?
Mm.
It doesn't have Street Star on it.
You're so right. What y'all know about Street Star?
One of my favorite songs of this year, still. It's like the beginning of the song with the car. I know we're like not talking about this album anymore, but like literally the car engine revving at the beginning and Jiyoung just, I'm the street star. Yeah. There's not a moment that I would like hear that song and be like, turn it off. Like, I'm just like, I'm always in the mood to listen to Street Star.
Yeah. Before they went on tour earlier this year, and before it was announced that Jung wasn't going to be a part of it, I was like, well, I really hope that Street Star is on the set list. Lo and behold, it's the first song that opens the entire show. When we saw it live, Jung wasn't there, but I still got chills. And I was like, this is how you start a show. And then immediately goes into banger after banger after banger, and then Butterfly. But then...
Hey, Butterfly's so good.
It is, but it's not like it's not a banger on par with Street Star.
Okay, true.
But I think Street Star should open every concert actually, like all of them.
Doesn't matter where you are. I think Street Star should be the first song that anyone plays.
I'm the street star. 나를 주목해. 검은 먼지처럼 내고 뛰어올라가. When the beat starts. 함성이 들려. What's your wow? Let's get low. I'm a street star.
I will say, I think that even if you aren't a fan of K-pop or you don't listen to K-pop, if you ever get the opportunity to go to a K-pop show, you should. I think the amount of people that I've seen have stories about just like not knowing, not caring, not really giving a shit, or like getting dragged to one, being like, that was insane and awesome. And like, even if you just, just take it for what it is. Are you okay?
Dude, you should I looked like that fox in the waiting room. like sitting in the chair. So like went into the bathroom, I washed my face and I went, yup. And now I'm just like sitting here with my legs crossed, like hands in my lap, just listening.
I look like the fox in the waiting room.
And if you don't know what that meme looks like, look it up. It's pretty accurate. Whatever the first one is, that's what it is.
I don't even think it's ever specified that the fox is in a waiting room. It just looks like he's there.
Fox sitting disheveled meme.
Disheveled. It does show up if you see fox in a waiting room meme. Apparently it's actually called creepy taxidermy fox. There's also a version of it in a straitjacket.
Me after seeing Jeno again.
I was gonna ask you, do you think that you'll still be Jeno? Like, I mean, he did make your nose bleed last time. But do you think it'll still be him after this time?
I think so.
He's so dog. Like, and that's just so you.
Yeah, I feel like I tend to bias members where their representative animal is a dog, like 9 times out of 10. If I'm gonna predict right now, I feel like Jisung is gonna wreck me, but that was because like last year when we saw them, I was like prospective Jisung biased just because that's like who piqued my interest at first, and then I made eye contact with Jeno, and then my nose bled like an anime character, and I said, well, that's a sign.
And it was all over.
And then it was all over from there. Earlier this year when they like announced that they were gonna go on tour, and then they started doing the like shows in Seoul and Japan and stuff, I was like, I really hope Jeno keeps his black hair and maybe grows it out a little bit more. And lo and behold, I'm right. He said happy birthday.
Yeah, maybe he'll take his shirt off for the last show too. Oh, speaking of memes, we got to talk about Moodang.
I love Moodang.
I just think that she could unite the people of the world.
She's already like been on the news. Like that's
she's like 2 weeks old and she's been on the freaking news.
She's been on the news. She's been like top story.
Speaking of hippos.
Oh.
One thing about us, we're great at transitions.
Speaking of hippos, I was about to say, what does Moodang got to do with music?
Well, first of all, music.
Hippo, music, Hippo Campus. That's a band.
That's such a band.
Such a band. So in the wave of me interviewing artists that performed at Lollapalooza, I got to interview Nate from Hippo Campus, and I thoroughly enjoyed our conversation. We got to talk about some like charity things that Hippo Campus has done, their reactions to playing Lollapalooza, and their new album that has now since been released. It was released on September 20th. And after the interview, we'll like talk about one or two highlight tracks that we have from the album. Here is Hippo Campus with Nate. I am joined with Nathan from Hippo Campus. How are you doing?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for taking the time.
Happy to be here.
All right. So y'all formed in 2013 at St. Paul Conservatory, where you studied jazz and opera and things like that. So can you tell me a little bit about like what drew y'all to each other?
We were young and dumb and full of hopes and dreams. And I think at the end of high school, there was a energy, and we wanted to match that and provide our friend group with an outlet that was fun and exciting. And we were in different bands at the time, and kind of joined forces to make something new, something fresh. And I think there was a shared enjoyment and appreciation for bands that would kind of shape how we were writing songs, and a lot of Brit pop, a lot of jangly guitar kind of stuff, and just a dash of pretension. And here we are 10 years 11 years later, and it's been really fun.
Because how do you essentially go from being like classically trained to playing indie rock and putting out something like Little Grace, you know?
Classically trained is a stretch. I think it was pretty the four of us were pretty loosely regarded, I think, within the curriculum at the school. It wasn't as buttoned up as it might sound. We kind of did whatever we wanted, which was to the chagrin of our teachers, of the faculty, just trying to.
Yeah, that's definitely how all like great projects start too, which is like it's just a bunch of friends having fun. And, you know, y'all have been a band for over 10 years, which congratulations.
Thank you.
How do you find the inspiration to keep going, essentially? Like some people get burnt out at like the 3-year mark, but y'all are still creating and putting stuff out like you just stepped on the scene.
I appreciate that. It's a delicate dance. I think at the core of the thing, like you said, having fun and kind of starting this band as a joke, I guess, was that's something that we hold close.
Right.
It's developed and changed as everything does, and we've developed and changed, and like certain priorities have shifted within the group itself, and like what we're striving for as a whole, as an entity. But I think at the core, you have to maintain honesty with yourself and what you all want. We like to keep a democratic approach to decision making and running the business. And I think with that, you kind of have to just ride the wave a little bit and let go of certain things that maybe I personally really wanted to happen, or yada yada. It can get really nitty gritty, or like even big picture stuff. But I think as long as we're respecting each other and respecting each other's honest desires, I don't know, here we are still somehow. There have definitely been days, make no mistake,
Right.
where every single member of the band has wanted to quit at one point or another. Like,
It's also essentially like y'all are going on tour constantly. Y'all are, staying in hotel rooms together and all that jazz. And eventually you just get sick of being around this person. You're like, dude, I can't be around you anymore. Like I can't. And then you say this, like this whole thing started as a joke. Talk a little bit about that.
yeah, I mean, it's just a hilarious thing to like throw four overly hormonal boys into the one room and like just let them have at it. I think it's a drastic concept. I think that sort of zealousness, the pure ambition and will to just be loud and make mistakes and go for broke, that energy that we had early on was kind of the driving force. And it sometimes just got out of control, and like we'd just be making jokes left and right, like what if we did this, what if we did that, oh that'd be hilarious, and then one thing leads to another, and suddenly you have like a narrative around like the meaning of the band and like all
Right.
these different things that are suddenly like marketing ploys and ways to brand the band. And then it's like, then you get into this whole fuck show of like, am I a product or a person? And
Right.
so be careful. But I think at the root of that, the benefit and the healthy approach, I think, like you said too, some of the best ideas start out as jokes. It's like, what if we all just got together and tried to write pop songs?
Right.
That can lead to a
Hmm.
career in this instance, I think.
Going off of like, things starting off as silly ideas, can you talk a little bit about the stage names that y'all used to use, or
That's a good question. There definitely are inside jokes tied to each one of them. Yeah.
yeah, that's what I figured.
I think there was like a darkness at the beginning of everything that was really inspiring about being on stage and feeling a sort of dissociative state with everything about yourself that came before. It's like every time you get up on stage, there's like an opportunity for you to become a completely different character. I think some of us more than others maybe, but like as a whole, we were mildly interested in chasing that concept as far as we could, at least for the first couple tours, and when we were still just kind of developing like what it felt like and what it meant to be on stage together and under the name Hippo Campus. So
Mhm.
it's so many things.
Yeah.
There, all those names are like, some died, some crashed and burned so fucking hard, and some are still used.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny. I'm still a fan of the names, just in that it keeps a friendliness um between each other.
Yeah.
It keeps a sort of familiarity, and like
Hmm.
see him walking down the street and you go, oh, what's up?
Yeah.
Um
And then for our listeners that don't know, can you say what yours was?
my nickname was Stitches.
And then so if a fan were to come up to you and like say that to you, would you get offended, or would you be like, "Hey, what's up?"
I'd probably vomit. I'd probably projectile vomit onto the ground.
You would go, "Bleh, bye."
Yeah, I'd run away.
So going on to more, I guess, serious topic. The band has done some pretty charitable things over the years that you've been together, and then other than making music, you donated merch profits and stuff for the Me Too movement with the Women's Foundation of Minnesota, and you've sold shirts for basically gun safety and gun reform. Are there any other causes or charities that you're working with that you want to highlight?
I think some things are still being nailed down for like the upcoming tours and stuff. Yeah, we're always trying to, keep our heads on a swivel with that stuff. It's like, yeah, you never know. It's like every show has so much shit going on at any given moment. Am I allowed to swear? Sorry.
You have not been swearing that much. It's all good.
I'll pump the brakes. I just thought of that. Okay.
It's okay.
Yeah, there's so much stuff that goes on at a show, and I think whether it's during an election year or
Mhm.
not, like head count, we've done a lot of stuff with them. I think it's just nice to have like a zone at a show where you can have a conversation about something that's, meaningful to whether it's a local nonprofit or some bigger thing like head count. It's nice to have that space, and we prefer having that space at our shows. So
Right. So would you say that like you are as a band like welcome to like charities and organizations coming up to you and being like, "Hey, can we have like a little booth?" For example, one of my friends does like end overdose. And so she goes and she does like little trainings and stuff and
oh, that's great.
yeah, so like things of that nature, like is that something that is welcomed?
Absolutely.
That's the way it goes. That's the way it goes.
Circling back to music and playing shows and stuff, but y'all just got done playing Lollapalooza a couple weeks ago, and this isn't the first time that you played the fest, but how did it feel this time compared to like other times?
It was really lovely. It's such a surreal setting and environment. It feels so futuristic in a crazy way, but it also feels kind of like the end of the world. At
Yeah.
least, from my perspective, I guess. Yeah, it's just a really exciting space. I think the last time we played it, it was rained out.
Mhm.
And there was just like mass exodus of everyone, concert goers and artists alike, that were just like trying to stay dry, and it was like really, really wild. And I had a sort of opposite experience this time around, where our stage closed down and the Killers went on,
Mhm.
and they were all across, all the way across the field, across the park, and there's just this LED wall behind us on our stage, and we just had like free roam of the whole area and just got to watch the Killers from, sitting on the stage, because we were staying overnight like right
Right.
behind our stage.
Mhm.
And so that was just like a special place to reflect
Yeah.
and kind of think about, oh man, we've been coming to Chicago a lot
Yeah.
over the years, and like city has really treated us well, and just, yeah, just a moment for gratitude and a moment for reflection. So I really appreciated that about this Lollapalooza, that I was sort of privileged with the time and the space to kind of stretch out and
Mhm.
just take a beat, yeah,
Yeah.
it was really special personally. So, and the show
I
was good too, I guess.
Oh yeah.
If
Yeah.
people showed up, it was fun.
I got to see a bit of it on the stream because I didn't go that day, but it looked really cool and it sounded really good. So
Cool, I appreciate that.
yeah. Was there any artists that you stayed around for besides the Killers?
Kristen Maroney played our stage,
Yes.
and Ethel Kane played our stage.
Mhm.
They're both awesome. Man, I feel like that might have been it. Where else did I go? I feel like, yeah, I guess I went to the gym earlier in the day before the set. So I was kind of like, because it was like a lot, it was just a lot of time to be like in one area. So it's nice to
Oh yeah.
like, okay, let's go to the hotel, let's go get out of
Yeah.
here and like take a breath. So I think Zach and I were at the gym most of the
Nice.
day. But we did catch some of Briston and Ethel's set, so that was sick.
I didn't really catch as many people as I thought that I would because the actual Lollapalooza experience is not for me. Like I don't really do like outside festivals like that. But
Same.
having the reprieve of the media lounge, I was like, oh, this is so nice. I love being back here. So y'all have a new album coming out September 20th. And what were some of the highlights from putting together the album? Like, do you begin with lyrics first? Do you begin with instrumentals? Do you begin with like the production side of it, like bringing in producers and whatnot?
Our process started back in 2022. Yeah, we had been writing nonstop essentially, like even through the LP3 tour. That whole touring cycle, we were writing and collecting ideas and just gearing up for the next go about. And I think early on we had known that we wanted to do another record with Caleb Wright, who we worked with LP3 on. And yeah, the concept was to take our time and to get it right and to sound like a band and to make something kind of American feeling. There was a lot of like references to the Red Hot Chili Peppers Californication. Rick Rubin dropped that book, and like I'm sure that kind of wove its way into the process at one point or another. And yeah, we kind of just set out to make a straight up record. But as time went on and as more songs were accrued and gathered and different like touring opportunities and shows came up, and we had to put together like an EP to push this like big Red Rock show and tour that we were doing in 2023. And that kind of interrupted the overall like big picture album process that we had. In hindsight, like a really stressful and difficult time,
Right.
both interpersonally and like in assessing what we all wanted from this project as a whole. It was very existential and dark. But you asked for highlights.
I did ask for highlights.
The highlights.
The highlight was it was dark, it was scary, I didn't like it.
Yeah. Basically, no, it was an explorative time. We had a lot of time. We definitely took our time. We recorded a lot of these songs like multiple times to the point where we wanted to shove knives in our ears. And there were moments where we kind of reached into wells that we didn't even know were there. And that was really cathartic and therapeutic and beautiful. Some of those songs, most of those songs that we didn't put on the record are kind of that caliber. I think that like the lowest points of Flood represent an even wider region of songs that didn't make the record. And I'm kind of only realizing that now. But man, oh man, did we have a lot of fun making this thing. And
That's awesome.
At the end of it, we got to go back to Sonic Ranch where we recorded Landmark, our first record, in Texas. And that was just so special. We brought in Brad Cook to kind of give us one more push, especially during those sessions. And yeah, we just kind of like recorded everything rapid fire and moved on. Like we didn't listen to anything. Like it was go up, do your take, come back in, and all right, what's next? Move on to the next thing. And we got through so many songs. We had to cut back, but we did a lot of songs in 10 days, and it was like incredible. It was beautiful. Oh my God. Oh my God. So many memories just hitting me all at once. So yeah, there was a lot of work, and at the end of it, we got to play, but for a while there, it was really brutal how hard we were banging our heads against the speakers. And
I feel like that's once again like what all good projects are like, where it's like eventually you just get to the point where you're like, I don't want to hear the sound of my own voice. I don't want to hear the way that I play guitar anymore. I'm sorry. Like I just have to get through this, and then we're done.
It's like tug of war kind of, but with yourself and through a mirror.
Yeah.
Yeah. And instead of the mirror, it's actually just like the void from Harry Potter. And if you fall in, you're
screwed.
Never existed.
Yeah. With this new album, what kind of audience or demo are you trying to reach with it? Like, I get that music is subjective and you can like what you want to like, but who do you hope that it reaches?
I don't know if I've thought about that. I think it feels so, I was just watching this like Gene Dawson interview.
Okay.
To get like inspo for this one.
Okay.
And he was talking about like his job being to be like accessible or relatable to the audience.
Okay.
Something like that. But the only way he could do that is by being like only focused on figuring himself out, you know?
Okay, yeah.
I don't know. I guess that kind of feels like the answer here. It's like
Mhm.
it was such a personal album. All of the songs were coming from such a place of yeah, personal experience and honest experience that we then were trying to make as like universal accessible as we could. And I think we all feel like we did that.
Mhm.
And so at that point, you kind of just have to let go and consider the job done, I guess, you
Right.
know? It's
No,
like it doesn't
definitely.
really doesn't do us very well to like care hard about who hears it, I
Hmm.
guess.
You just want it to be heard, essentially.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the job of the artist is pretty internal, you know? As soon as I sign off on the song and the masters and like it gets shipped or like prepped for DSPs or whatever the
Hmm.
hell now, it's like, all right, let's start working on the next one, you know?
Yeah.
There's not a lot of looking back
Yeah.
for us anymore. I think maybe was a time earlier on where it was pretty like moment to moment and we kind of had our fingers on the pulse a little harder and we were like really trying to read and like find, you know, guidance as to where we wanted to go next. But now we kind of understand that just kind of comes naturally and organically when you just show up and start and put in the work. And yeah, that's a little on the creative side, I guess. But
Yeah.
realistically, we're definitely influenced by like the love that our fans give us.
Okay. Yeah.
And I guess trying to just perpetuate that exchange, the sort of like loving whether the music sucks or not,
Right.
or whether we are happy with the music that we're making or not. There's that is definitely sacred to us. You know, I think you can be a fan of a band without liking any of their music. That's another aspect to this whole thing that
Yeah,
I should
definitely.
probably think more about.
Sucking on a candy while you wanted me, calling me all the time. You got a lot of things to say, you got a lot that's on your mind.
Tooth Fairy. Seems like you put a reference in there from Fuck the Pain Away by Peaches. Can we talk about that real quick?
Yeah, I didn't know until the song came out. It was like weeks before the song was
Yeah.
about to drop, and I didn't know that that's something that Jake threw in there. But he just threw it in there, and I don't know, we all liked it a lot. So
Yeah, I thought it was dope. I thought that it was mixed in really well.
I just don't feel like there was like melody or anything like that. It's just like rhythm. I can't tell if that's actually interpolation or not, but
Okay.
I'm not an expert.
You said I'm only a professional musician. Don't worry about it though.
Yeah, don't quote
Yeah.
me on that.
I've been talking with Nathan from Hippo Campus. This has been such a fun interview. Thank you for taking the time and using all 40 minutes of our free Zoom call.
Yeah, we did it. Thanks for
We
having me. I
did it.
appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. I think Mudang would be a fan of Hippo Campus.
Mudang should be Hippo Campus's mascot.
Bring back like band flags and put Mudang on there.
Oh yeah.
And then just put in like Comic Sans at the bottom, Stream Flood by Hippo Campus.
You know what? At the top, impact font, Stream Flood by Hippo Campus, and then bottom text. $1 million revenue.
Let's talk about what was your like standout song from this album, because I have one that I would like to talk about, but do you have one as well?
I gotta say, Madman. It was like this melding to me, like sonically,
Mm-hmm.
of Jack Johnson and Bombay Bicycle Club. It was like, it's very interesting. I feel like the album in totality is a very like lazy Sunday. It just has that vibe.
I liked Everything at Once because whoever's singing, mind you, I can't tell their voices apart. And that's just me, not like being an active fan of Hippo Campus, but like just like a casual listener of Hippo Campus. I can't tell their voices apart. Like I don't know who's singing what, but whoever is singing on Everything at Once at the very beginning just has the same kind of inflection / like haunting melody that somebody like Jeff Buckley had.
Mm.
And it has that like same cadence. I really liked Everything at Once, and it's definitely my favorite track on this album. And it's definitely worth a listen. Shall we do cherry picks?
Oh my gosh, our cherry picks. Yes.
Cherry picks. I came prepared this time. I have them
I
all
sure
written out.
didn't. We switched.
We switched. Which, by the way, like, we don't have to have 3 every single time, but
I could have more even.
exactly. But I feel like 3 is like a good number, and it won't like clog up the playlist as fast.
Yes.
Okay, so my first cherry pick of this week is Search and Destroy by Eric DOA. Last time that you were here,
Justin posted this on his story.
Yes.
And I listened to the song and I said, damn, this is good.
Mm-hmm. Last time you were here, Eric DOA was either in the middle of or like just about wrapping up his like live stream session, which he like started.
Right.
For those of y'all that don't know, Eric started this like series on Twitch where he would live stream until he was done making an album. It was on 24/7. He had people come in and work with him and like work on a song. And so he had people like David, he had Porter Robinson, he had like a bunch of his friends that also kind of make hyperpop-y music or hyperpop like adjacent music. And so I'm very excited for the whole album once it drops. I don't think it's all the way out. Hi. It comes out next month. Okay, my fact checker on Eric DOA came in just now and said it comes out next month. Yeah, very much looking forward to that. And I saw Eric with Justin and Frankie and our friend Jackie earlier this year in like February. And that guy can put on a live show, let me tell you. First cherry pick for me, Search and Destroy by Eric DOA. Second cherry pick is Slime by Shy Girl.
Slime.
I have like an ongoing playlist of songs that Justin has been showing me that are in the same vein of like Brat and like Charlie XCX and stuff like that. And it's just called, the playlist that I made is just called OK Club. And OK Club. And Slime by Shy Girl is on there. And it's just like, it makes you feel like the main character walking into a club. And it sounds...
Do you have a cover art for that playlist? Because it really should just be the Broad City scene of them in the club.
That'll be it now. It is currently just the cover art of Slime by Shy Girl because it only has 3 songs.
Right.
It only has 3 songs. It has Slime by Shy Girl, it has Brand New Bitch by Cobra, and it has Never Play by Meg the Stallion and RM.
Oh, Never Play is so good. Well, yeah. You need to have Spring Breakers by Charlie XCX on there.
This is a work in progress. This is just something that like I added these 3 songs while I was in the shower, and so I was like, this goes crazy. And then my last cherry pick is Heat Me Up by Boston Manor, which is very different from the other 2, but Boston Manor has been my favorite like non-K-pop band for the longest time. I've been a fan of Boston Manor since like 2015, 2016, something like that. Every single time that they've come to Chicago, I've been there, and like I just thoroughly enjoy all of their music. That's not to say that like just because they're my favorite band that they've never put out like a bad song. They probably have. I just haven't listened to it, you know? Those are my cherry picks. What are yours?
My first one is last week I got to go see The Wildlife and Young Culture because my good friend Christian Sarking is doing the photography for The Wildlife.
What a guy.
So I got to go see the show. It was very, very good. I have been to a couple Young Culture shows before. They're so fun and good. Anyway, it kind of like one of the songs that I've like really liked off of their self-titled album is called Better Off as Friends, but that's not my cherry pick. I just want to talk about how great that song is. Okay. So I'm just letting everyone know that song is amazing and wonderful and perfectly catchy and probably the best pop punk song written in the past 10 years. But the song that I actually want on the playlist for cherry picks is Whiskey by Young Culture.
Oh.
It's just like, it's like a little like country pop punk song and it's so good and catchy and like especially seeing it live, it was super bouncy and everyone was having a good time. And I've just been listening to that song in particular a lot since I saw them last week. My second cherry pick is Killing Time by Magdalena Bay.
Yes.
I love the album.
Mhm.
I don't even know how to explain the album. It's just so good. They're one of the artists I feel like that fits into this new age Tumblr renaissance.
Mm.
Like, that makes sense. Like,
Yeah.
during the whole, like, 1975, Marina and the
Mhm.
Diamonds, Lana Del Rey,
Yeah.
all of that, the Arctic Monkeys, whole era within Tumblr. Like, I feel like they are one of those bands now, of the now
Yeah.
umbrella, that's like kind of history repeating itself in a different but similar way.
Mhm.
But yeah, that song specifically really like off of the album.
Yeah, no, I think that is definitely one of Justin's favorite albums that have come out this year. And
so good.
The only reason why I say that is because this man is also just as obsessed with music as we are, if not more. And he will listen to an album and be like, okay, you have to listen to these 4 songs immediately right now. And I'm like, I'm in the shower, but okay, yeah, I'll do it. But yeah, no, the songs that I did hear from it, I enjoyed, and it's definitely an album that I have to revisit. That song is so good.
And then my last cherry pick is gonna be Pleasure Shop by Key. I really just gay club anthem, and I think everyone needs to listen to it and just.
Should I add it to my OK Club playlist?
Yeah, honestly, you should. I mean, like, I feel like you could just go through Key's discography and be like, club, 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 like, because it's just the music that he makes. Also, I'm just very excited to be in the car and listen to that song / the rest of the album. But I'm also excited to be in your car or whoever's car and listen to Psychic by Lay.
I'm adding that as an honorary cherry pick simply because it will always be a cherry pick. It's the cherry tree sometimes, honestly.
I think what's crazy is that you in the backseat, completely unassuming. I have already listened to this album all the way through with Dina, and I'm like, let me put this song on. And you said, huh?
Literally, I was in the backseat and you threw that song on, and I went, something in my brain just shifted. Like something in the chemical makeup of my brain just shifted, and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but it was like glass shattering, and I went, hey, that's.
And then it infiltrated your dreams.
And then it infiltrated my subconscious. It's such a good song.
It's so close to being cringe. It's like when you're like run for home and you don't know if you're safe or not, and then you're safe and you're like, yeah. That's what that song is. Wait, like stealing home plate. It's like that song is like stealing home plate.
I don't know why. It did not click for me that you said, I'm gonna make a baseball reference right now. And in my mind, I played like a mini horror movie of just you running away from something and running home and being like, huh.
No, I'm talking about like the joke is so close to being like cringe and corny, but like it's safe. Like he makes it and it's safe. He pulls it off.
It's
Sorry.
True. You know who else would pull off that song? Bang Chan. Anyway.
Yeah, there it is.
There it is. Once again, not advocating for AI, but if somebody wants to take the time to do that for me, that would be great. Or if, hey, Christopher Bang Chan.
Speaking directly to you right now.
Speaking directly to you because I know you listen to this podcast. If you could cover that for me, that would be the greatest golden birthday present that you could ever give me. And I'm a week older than you, so I feel like you should do it.
And a huge weight off of everyone else's shoulders to stop hearing about it.
Yeah, because I will never stop talking about it. And that's what's going to end this episode of Cherry Notes.
Recap and lessons learned for the day. Google creepy fox in the waiting room. 2, Mudeng should be Hippo Campus's mascot.
Yep.
And 3, Christopher Bang should cover Psychic by Lay.
Yes.
And Keshi has the album of the year.
Yep.
And that's it.
Ding, 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 ding. All of them. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for listening. For those that have like shared and commented and such and given support on our first episode, it has given
Literally
us...
couldn't be happier.
Yeah. All of the nice things that people have said so far have made me very emotional, and I'm very excited to keep doing this with you and producing this, and yeah.
Whee!
Yippee! Okay, bye everybody.
Bye.